Now to create the form, I'm going to move down to the form section. Let's add contact us. And there are a lot of different, first of all, we need to create the form. So the box that's going to exist around the form elements, form. And then we're going to create an action equals mail to sample at sample.com. And the method we're going to use is called post. And we use post there's post put, and there's our method put, and there's method post. The problem with method put, or is it get? I'm not sure. Anyway, the problem is that it actually puts your information in the URL where it's visible and manipulatable by other people. And so we use post because it is the more secure method. And encrypt type at this point is just going to be text plain. Okay. And you want to change sample to your email address. Okay, so now we're going to start with some form fields. Input type equals text. Text. Name of this field is going to be first name. And we're going to add required, meaning that they have to fill this out in order to submit the form, and autofocus here means that autofocus means that it's automatically, your cursor is going to be selected in there, so you can just start typing. And placeholder equals Okay, let's try that again. Good. And save. Okay. Input type equals text, name equals, I'm missing a quote there. That's why it's not working. Well, I thought that was why. Yeah, that solved it. Command save. It's no longer red. If I hit view, refresh, live view, I see I have a field that I can type into. Though I can't really type into it in Dreamweaver. Okay, next. And why is that? Got it. So I'm going to need to, before I forget, there. Okay, that closes the form. But let's go and add some more inputs. So input type equals text, name equals last name, required, placeholder equals last name asterisk. And save. View. Okay. Notice that these are in line. There's another way to write these where they wouldn't be, but at the moment they are just in line. Okay. And we're going to add email. Maybe input type equals email, name equals email, required. Those are equal signs and not dashes. Okay. Reason for email. Select. So this is a different type. Instead of just typing information in, this is actually going to be a drop-down list. Select name equals reason. And you may be wondering why we name all of these. And we can use, provided you have a database program built into your website, you could actually save, using these names, you could actually save this information out into a database or similar things. Okay. Option. So let me close that. Option value equals instruction. Instruction. Close option. Another option value. Equals newsletter. I'd like to receive your newsletter. Option 3. Value equals other. Keep it all lowercase. And the final option value equals web error. I'll just leave it as web. Okay. And then we close select. And if we come over here and we click on it, we see we get a drop-down menu. Let's see. Comment. Text area name equals comment. Calls equals 45. So it's going to be 45 characters wide. And then rows equals 4. Placeholder equals comments. And this is one of those odd circumstances. Well, this is one of the very few odd circumstances where we're going to close this, and there's really no, usually you'd have something here, but not in this particular case. It's kind of an outlier. Okay, and then we need button type equals send value equals send and I managed to leave that quote off. There, it's now correct. We now have a send button. So let's go here and add a comment. Okay. And then input type equals reset value equals reset. So there's a couple of different ways that buttons get handled. Okay. And then we closed the form already. There are also radio buttons and there are check boxes, which I'm not using in this case. So let's go ahead and add a radio button just for fun. Input type equals radio. ID equals HTML. Name equals, and these all need to be the same name in this case, so that the buttons only one of the buttons can be clicked. Value Just a second. Let's need a little bit more space to work. Okay, then and I'm gonna let's do it. Okay, input type equals radio. ID equals CSS. ID equals CSS. Name equals language. So again, that has to be the same. Value equals CSS. Label for equals CSS. Value was misspelled. CSS. CSS. Label. ID equals JavaScript. Name equals language. Value equals JavaScript. And label for equals JavaScript. JavaScript. And after CSS, after label, break. Okay. Okay, so now we have some radio buttons. And I'm actually going to save this. And I'm going to go share. Just a second. And we go here and we hit refresh and we see our items. And when we click on the radio buttons, you can't click on more than one. So nice little thing. Go back to Dreamweaver. Okay, now we're going to add some CSS to style this all. And you'll find it's a little complicated, but let's see what we can do. So I'm going to tell most of these items. So right now they're inline items. I want them to be block items. I want them, each one of them, to be on its own line rather than in one continuous line. So I'm going to come up here under form, and I've got inputs, and I've got mostly inputs, and I've got select, and I've got text area, and then I have buttons. So I'm going to go back up here, input, select, text area, and button. And I'm going to tell it to display block. And if you notice, these now display as block elements. And then margin bottom. Is 6 pixels. So that gives me some space. Looks like I'll have to do more work here. And then I was also going to give it padding, 3 pixels. And that gives me a little bit more space inside. I've got a problem here in that email. Name, email, and we need placeholder. Save. Okay. So we get a little problem that we'll need to remove the block items from these, and we will see how to do that as we go along. Next. We're going to tell input, and we can be specific about which input by adding a left bracket. These aren't curly brackets, these are square brackets. So input type equals text. Notice that I'm not putting quote marks around these in this case. Input type equals email. See, even I'm trying to do it. Select and text area is width (375 pixels). I can make it just 400 pixels. That's simpler. Okay. Notice that these just jumped out to the same length. Okay. And if we just say input, so if I just like Command X on that, you'll see that the reset button, which is also an input, jumped out to the same width. Okay. Next. Button and input type equals reset. And we'll tell those to be width 100 pixels. So they're now the same size. Then we're going to take the button. So we'll call this I'll just take that and X, add that here, red button. Margin, top, (20 pixels). Background color red. Color white. Font weight bold. Border 0. Okay. And then we can actually go a little crazy. We can go button hover, hover, background color, aqua. There's only a comma, it needs to be a semicolon. Color, black. And let's go new share over to here, hit refresh. And so when I roll over it, it changes quite distinctly. And now we'll deal with the input type equals reset. And we will tell that to be color dark khaki. Notice the color change. Font weight bold and border 0. Reset. And then we'll do input type equals reset, hover, focus, and active. And this should be, in fact, the same thing up here. And focus active and background color. Gives us a little bit of change. Probably not enough. Okay. Could even tell these to be never mind. Okay, the one part I've got left is import radio. Type equals radio. Display. Inline. And what I probably need to do is I probably need to put a block around that. Um, uh, that's better. And then just double check, right? Nth child 3, margin bottom. Gonna probably find out that doesn't work. Type equals radio. Nope, that's not gonna work. So since that didn't work, what we're gonna do is go down here and we're gonna create a we'll create a div. Buttons. And I'm just going to create a div ID equals radio. Okay. And now I can tell. Wrong type of bracket. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, let's try it a different way. I don't know why that wouldn't work. Did I misspell it? Div ID equals radio. ID should be a number sign. Color. Red. Okay. We're going to do this. We're going to change this from that to radio. And that works. Okay. Okay, now it works. Interesting. I have no idea why that would be. I must not have saved it or refreshed it properly. Okay. So now we have a form. And if I save that, still not crazy about, maybe that needs to be white. So form buttons, input type instead of dark khaki. Okay, that's better. And save. So a lot of fooling around, a lot of craziness. And I'm just curious if I take this and I tell it font family sans serif. with the exception, there's some exceptions, so I'm not going to do that. But I was just curious to see how much farther I'd have to go. And if I go to share and I go to here and I hit refresh, you'll see that that automatically gets picked. Interesting. Gonna go back, share. Huh. Huh. There we go. Right. So that did check. And we click send. And we get, you can't see it, but new share. I go to mail, new message. You'll see that it's going to sample at sample.com. We don't have a subject, but we have first name, last name, email, language, reason, great website. And all that would get sent. This is not an ideal situation for sending information like this, but it'll work well enough. If we used something called PHP, we could actually have this nicely formatted, strip out these initial pieces of information, or this could all get put into a database. If I go back here and I click reset, it reset everything. So I'm sorry, Command Z, share. Click reset, and it just clears it all. And so that gives you an idea of how to style a form and style a table.